Yo, welcome to the Diski Den episode 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm your host for today's episode. My name is Nino, and in the den, we've got Hudson, we've got Dom, and we've got Pino. We also have a special guest who's going to be joining us later on the episode, Lorenz Kohler, and we're going to be talking about various footballing topics, football developments that have happened during the course of the week. Some of these are extremely crazy, and some of them are going to be just roundups of the PSL and the UEFA Champions League. So before we go any further, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Do drop some feedback in the comment section. Click on the notification bell so you're alerted every time we drop new content. And by doing this, you guys allow our channel to grow, and we really appreciate the support. So, gents, where do you guys want to start? PSL or UEFA Champions League?
Local is lacquer.
Local is lacquer. Right. So during the course of the week, we had some PSL action. We had Kaizer Chiefs playing Chippa United. We had Pirates play Stellenbosch, and we had Sundowns playing TTM. Quite a few surprising fixtures there, with only Kaizer Chiefs getting the result. We had Orlando Pirates drawing once more with Stellenbosch in a 1-1 game. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about that fixture in particular. And we had Sundowns drawing 0-0 with TTM. I think the most surprising of all the fixtures. Is there anything you guys want to say about these results?
Well, from a Chiefs point of view, our squad is really starting to concern me. As much as we have a quality manager, the lack of depth of the squad is starting to concern me. And the fact that we can't sign any new players effectively for the next year, it's a bit concerning. The gents really need to get match fit. I think most of the players aren't even that fit. They don't look sharp. Manyama's not close to his best. Billiard hasn't been close to his best for a while. The squad is a bit thin, and it's concerning. However, we got the 3 points, which was a good bounce back from the bad defeat. So I'm happy with that, but the squad is looking a bit lean.
True. And Hudson, I have a question for you. Considering the fact that some of these teams, I think if not all of them, they didn't have a preseason. They weren't training as much. They didn't play against any teams. How long do you think it's going to take for some of these players to reach optimal fitness levels? How many game weeks should we expect until we see all these players playing at full capacity?
Yeah, the fitness levels are not looking that good right now, but that's something you can work towards. But I'm thinking about teams like Sundowns and Kaizer Chiefs, especially Kaizer Chiefs. There's going to be a couple of players going to international duty. There's new managers, new ideas have to be put in the players. There's a lot of stuff outside even fitness that has to be done. And I think, to be honest with you, it's a weird start because of COVID. You know what I mean? Like you said, no preseason, not a lot of time for the players to prepare. And the circumstances of the preparation is different from other years because of COVID. But I think we're all in the same position. So we all are going to suffer almost the same. And I think that shows in some of the results that are coming out. It's going to be quite a crawl into the first few game weeks. But hopefully when players come back from international breaks and a couple of games later, you'll see it pick up a bit.
Nice. And Dom, I've got a question for you, my fellow Masandawana fan over there. We drew, and we drew the worst kind of draw possible against one of the new boys. What did you predict for that game? What was your scoreline prediction? And do you have anything to say against this result? Did you actually watch this match? Is there anything you picked up?
Okay, I didn't watch the full match, but I did get the extended highlights. Before the match even, I on the back of that 3-0, I was expecting like a 1-0, a 2-0, a 2-1. Just to build on that win against Chiefs. So that 0-0, it was quite disappointing. Because now it's like, did these guys just perform because it was a big game and the hype was there already? And then it was 0-0. You got Rulani there walking up and down. As he's the head coach now, like what's going on now? Fuck, man.
No, it's pretty.
It's just
It's pretty wild. You actually never know who you're gonna see on the touchline during the Sundowns game. We should actually start a segment where we predict which manager is going to be on the touchline. I'm sure that'll get pretty crazy.
I think they fight who's gonna be in charge for the day, like who's gonna be the main guy. And then they pick out of a hat. I don't know.
They play rock, paper, scissors. Yo, who's gonna go in?
Yeah, sure. And surely
when did Kopele get so buff?
Oh yeah, but he's always been a shape guy. He's always been a big guy though.
No,
if they physically fight him, he's probably gonna win a lot of those fights.
He's been hitting some push-ups, no doubt. He's been hitting some push-ups, that boy.
Yeah. Now Steve is jacked. And I think he's an average gym goer. He goes to the gym a couple of times. Hopefully one day, Dom, you get him onto the no excuse room to give you guys a couple of sessions himself. He seems like he knows what he's doing.
He's gonna go through the philosophy.
But that stomach's a bit big though. I
was gonna say if there was anything I would critique him on, I'd tell him, his arms are buff enough. He commands, his stature alone commands a lot of respect. I think a lot of players would just listen to him just because of his physical stature. But when it comes to the words that he says, maybe he confuses players. I'm not really sure what Steve is going to bring to the Sundowns camp, but I am very interested. If he could transform some of those players into some physical specimens, that would be great for our league, because I feel like our PSL players are lacking in the physical department. We've got Lorenz connecting, and
CGI boy
with the CGI background. This is a serious man. This is a serious
CGI man.
Oh snap!
Oh my God! Oh.
And that's
Why?
And you know what, Lorenz? I think your Arabic audience is not going to appreciate that background. But you know what?
Your Liverpool fans on too.
I entered this background for the Gears. I'm gonna take it off now. Just hang on, guys.
Yeah, put in some adventures or something.
We like it.
I actually like it.
Yes.
I kind of like it.
Way.
Kama.
Nice.
Yeah, that's not bad either.
Yeah, you actually need to teach us how to change our backgrounds. That's pretty dope. I had no idea you could do that.
You can do anything. Like, I just want to show you the last one. If you really want the profesh look, you go for a stadium like that. Live feeds you.
Okay.
Be right there.
You can be in Old Trafford if you want to. It doesn't matter. Like it's your choice.
All right. We're being schooled. We appreciate it. So I just want to introduce you to our audience. Guys, this is Lorenz Kohler. Would you like to introduce yourself as quickly as possible?
Sure, guys. My name is Lorenz. As you said, I work for KickOff.com, primarily as an international journalist, but I mostly focus on African content like CAF Champions League, Confederations Cup, and obviously international football. And I just want to bridge the gap of Pan-African content to the rest of the continent, where it's not consumed as much as our European content, it's bizarre. So yeah, that's my mission. And obviously I love South African football as well, but I know a lot about European as well. Nino can attest to that. Football Manager Pro as well, 10,000 hour mark. 10,000 hour mark. So yeah, I can dabble in that chat as well.
that's actually great. That actually segues into the theme of this episode. Considering you've got 10,000 hours on Football Manager, hopefully you're gonna shed some light into some of the most recent news regarding a Glad African Championship team. So to the people that are watching, we're gonna be talking about building a club from scratch and what it takes to run a club and what it takes to develop some of our local players and turn them into starters for some of the bigger clubs here in the PSL. So if you guys may not, may not know, the Glad Africa Championship Real Kings team has been taken over and it's being renamed Royal AM. And the most surprising thing about this, they've appointed a 19-year-old to be the chairman of the club. Now,
is he not too old?
You know what? I actually think he's the perfect age, but I'll get to that. Do you guys remember there was at some point Bafana was looking for a coach? I think this was during 2010. And a 19-year-old kid applied for the job and said he had a lot of experience in Football Manager. And his application was so viral before social media that he found himself on Morning Live. He found himself breaking news. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but I think that's the last time someone around 18 years old or 21 years old made any type of significant news outside of being a player, that is, when it comes to managerial positions. What's your guys' initial reaction to a 19-year-old being a chairman of a club? Do you think he's got what it takes to guide the club out the Glad? I will start with you, Hudson.
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe Lorenz, you're gonna have to fact check me. But I heard the boy, they're not doing too bad in his house. So I think
pockets ain't empty.
The pockets ain't too empty, eh? So I think his experience might have been secondary in the decision on on whether he should be chairperson or not. I think his experience was kind of the secondary qualification
100%
to get him that job.
It helps when your mother buys the club to get the chairman's job. It helps if you're a player for the club, if you're quite a burgeoning Kwaito superstar, and Instagram influencer as well. I had a passing joke the other day on Twitter that they said the technical sponsor is probably going to be Louis Vuitton or Gucci, and that just shows you at the high life that these guys are living in. But ultimately, if we're talking about like what Nino said of creating a sustainable and a successful club, if that is the intention, or if this is just people start businesses just to try things out. You know what I mean? If that's the intention, that's cool. But there's obviously going to be directors in place who's actually going to do the real work while he does interviews and announces a couple of players, holds a couple of shirts in front of pictures, while somebody else is actually doing the work.
What did you say the name of the club was again? Royal, the new name.
AM.
It's Royal AM. I'm
surprised.
I'm surprised they didn't call it like John Vulligate FC. I mean, it's a bloody kid.
No, it's his name.
It's a bloody kid.
That's his name.
He named it after himself.
The club's named after him. Yes, Royal Andile, what? Pisane.
Yeah, that's his surname with the M, yeah.
Pisane, yeah.
Pisane,
yeah.
So it's AM. Well, I mean, he missed out on John Vulligate FC. So that's his lot.
Now,
It was copyrighted already.
yeah, Pino and Dom. Pino and Dom.
Somebody took that name.
I've got a question for you guys, right? Let's put the two of you in Andile's shoes, right? Now you have been appointed chairman of a Glad African club. What are your guys' first steps? What are you guys doing in your first week of appointment? I'm going to start with you, Pino.
Okay, before I get into that, I just want to note that this kid seems to at least have a passion for football, because he actually played for his dad's team, or at least he was a registered player for Royal Eagles. So you would say that maybe the football business is probably in the team, you know, maybe it's something they have a passion for, family. So maybe he might actually apply himself. So it'll be interesting to see how he does that. But you would think starting a club from scratch, the most important is having a manager who knows what they're doing. I wouldn't, in his situation, I wouldn't do a complete overhaul. I would rather just see how things are going as is. You would think the player pool that they have, the talent pool is also important. It would be nice to see them do something contrary to what we normally see. For guys that want to get into the Premier League, you know, just buy old guys with PSL experience, just throwing money at the problem. It would be nice to see them maybe focus on developing talent in KZN, you know, targeting academies, things like that. Maybe investing in infrastructure like training facilities, because I mean, we've established they got the cash. So it would be interesting and nice to see them do alternative things like that. Focusing more on infrastructure, having a more long-term plan.
Nice. And you, Dom, would you do anything differently to Pino?
Yeah, I don't know. It's quite tricky. It's quite a deep question. First, for me, I think if I was in his shoes, money is not a problem. So I'll go and I'll invest myself in a business degree because it's a club. He needs, yeah, I think like, besides just the basic soccer knowledge, it's deeper than that. And you don't want to be like bankrupt before you know it. So I'll upskill myself first and foremost, and then I'll consult while I'm doing that key guys in key positions already, sporting directors, scouting guys, so forth, to let the club keep on running. Set goals, see what's realistic goals, look at certain other areas, maybe marketing of the brand, of the club, investing in that. And yeah, that's about it until I have a better understanding of what I want for the club, because he's only 19 and I don't know if he knows the full functioning of the club and all the economics that goes into it.
Noted. So Lorenz, I've got a question for you, and it's I think it'll be a tricky question. It'll need some thought. Do you think this is fly-by news? Is this something we should be looking at? Or is it a trend that's going to follow? Because there's been a couple of clubs that have been bought in a very short period of time, and things are changing very quickly. Do you think this type of trend is going to follow across the year now that clubs are losing a lot of finances during this COVID time? Or is this just some fly-by news?
Look, it's like you said, it's a very complicated question. You can never tell what's gonna happen. Like, nobody thought Wits would have been sold. Nobody thought Highlands Park would have been sold. It was two institutions that were on the rise. They had solid academies. So going into the trends that you're talking about, it's obviously interesting. Mamkize, who bought this club, to obviously, you know, start this club with her son, had a club called Royal Eagles before, and she owned that with her ex-husband, and that didn't work out. They spent ridiculous money. Like, I'm talking out of this world money for the NFT. So bearing in mind, I stand to be corrected, but I think the NFT grant is something between 250 to 500,000 a month, and they were exceeding that budget like crazy. I think they signed Katlejo Mpela. That was one of their first signings, and like that guy didn't come on for cheap. You know what I mean? And they never won promotion after 2 seasons. They got divorced, and then obviously, Mamkise took her money elsewhere. I think it was to TTM, and there is rumors that she actually was the one who helped TTM by Bidvest Wits. So that's a very interesting thing there as well. But ultimately, these guys, there's no structure, there's no plan in place of running a football club and what it takes. You need experienced administration to run a football club properly and profitably. Otherwise, you literally, the question marks are going to be raised. Why are you owning this club if it's bleeding cash? So yeah, like especially in COVID, how can you start a new club if Bidvest Wits, a 99-year institution, says we can't afford this? We just won the league 2 years ago, but we can't afford this. What is a 19-year-old guy gonna do in the NFD where there's less grant, there's no sponsorship, you have no team, you have no stadium, you have no training ground, you have no kit, you have nothing. You're starting a club from what? It's like it asks questions like, where's the money going to? What is actually happening with this money? There's a lot of questions, but if he is passionate, like you get young guys like us that loves football, passionate about football, and it would be a dream to own a club and be in his position at that age. Maybe he proves us all wrong and he does something smart and he goes to the KZN Academy, which is one of the most successful academies in the country. They're sending boys all overseas, and tap into that, things like that, where they don't need to splash the cash on marquee players or get Shaba or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's the smart routes that they can take and not spend too much money. But with their reputation, I think it's going to go for high profile. If they don't get promoted, boom, club is gone next year, and that's just going to be the trend. So yeah, money is always going to dictate these things.
Nice. I felt like I was at school. That's a nice breakdown. That's a nice breakdown. So just before we hop out of Local is Lekker segment, I just want to ask, you are known as Lorenzio these days. You've been breaking news. You've been the first to break news. A lot of people are now camping on your Twitter timeline because you provide the updates that everyone is looking for. Is there anything the Diski Den should be on the lookout for? Are there any leagues that are popping? Are there any players that we should put on our radar? What's popping out there?
Locally, obviously, you're asking, right?
Yes.
Of course. Okay, so Chiefs is obviously the big thing where they got the transfer ban appeal rejected, but they signed 3 players already. So these 3 players can't play football for the next season. So there's a lot of talk that they're going to send these guys out on loan to Swallows. There's talk that Mahlambi, he was considered our next Benny McCarthy 2 years ago, moved to Al Ahly for 20 million rand. He's also talking about going to Swallows. So it's crazy times. But as you know, you can only loan 5 players. A team can only loan 5 players. So there's talks Mahlambi's going there, Klanti, Nange, and Brandon Peterson, and they've already have 5 loanees. So if we see those loans go through, bro, questions need to be answered, bro. Like, so that's the one thing that's on the horizon now, because otherwise Klanti, Nange, and Brandon Peterson, who is top quality players who could easily play in the national team, are literally just gonna run around Chiefs' training ground for the next season.
Okay, that seems like a problem for Hudson and Bino. You guys are going to have to break that down later in the seasons.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. We've got the players. We'll
so long
deal
as
with it later.
not there.
We'll deal with it later. We'll deal with it later.
Thanks for the breakdown. So I feel like let's hop onto some UEFA, and we've got 3 United fans in the group, right? It's so unfortunate. It feels like a Red Devil show. Unfortunate for us. So you guys are gonna sit in the back seat just for 5 minutes while Hudson and I talk about Liverpool quickly. You guys have an issue. You guys have an issue at the back. What's happening there, bro?
Yeah, we just lost probably our better defender, Fabinho, right? And Matip, I think, is still going to be out for a few more weeks, but it's a muscle thing, so I don't think he's going to be out for too long. So he probably will be available in a few weeks. We're going to have to ride. Either we're going to do Gomez and the young Reece Wilson, I think his name is. So youngster, you know, looks like Van Dijk. He's got the Van Dijk hair. So I'm just hoping, I don't know, he gets that Van Dijk juju. I'm like, you know what? Maybe if we take a player out that looks like Van Dijk, some fools might actually think Van Dijk is back. But we're going to have to ride with this youngster. Here's the thing, to be honest with you, we've got our issues at the back, but if we grind up, it gives other players a reason to play stronger, better. You know, it wakes, for example, Joe Gomez in the last few games, and you guys have been critical of him. In the last few games, Joe Gomez has been amazing. I've watched every second of him, waiting for him to slip up, because I've got an agenda against him, or I had one, and he's impressed me. So there's someone who's been woken up, you know, from the injury scares, and hopefully it wakes up some other people. Hey man, injury to Nathaniel Klein introduced us to Trent. So you never know what this injury will do, you know what I mean? Injury might introduce us to Reece Wilson or whatever this Van Dijk gangster looks his name is. So
nice,
yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. Also, congratulations on your win against Midtjylland. It does seem like you guys are going to grind out a few results. It's probably too early to worry about you guys at the back. If we're talking about fantasy football league, that's a different type of worry.
That youngster's 4 million. That youngster's 4 million. It's giving y'all some
Put him in my team. Put him in your team, mate.
The 3 Red Devils. The 3 Red Devils here. What are we going to do about you guys? I'm sure you guys have a lot to say. Who wants to start things off? You guys were tutored at being in the group of death, in the UEFA group of death. And it seems like you have blown it. You have blown that speculation to pieces. What do you guys have to say about your 5-0 victory over Leipzig? Leipzig. How do you say it? I always call them Red Bull.
Leipzig. We're going to lose our next game. 100%.
Explain. You guys are going to fight amongst each other. Explain.
Whenever it's Ollie at the wheel, then we know what's happening in the next game. Whenever we get hope, we know what's going to happen at the next game. Whenever we give up, we win 5-0. That's just how it is as a United fan. That there's absolutely zero consistency. Like, who would have thought 5-0, Rashford playing so poorly recently, bangs a hat-trick. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. And none of us, between the 3 of us, we can't name the strongest 11. Ollie can't name the strongest 11. When Liverpool won the league, as a Liverpool fan, you knew everything week. You'll see, I know who's my start. United, we don't know yet, and that is the problem. Once that is sorted out, then we can talk, you know what I mean? But that's a big job for Ali to understand. Like, how do I fit Van der Beek, Pogba, Bruno? Because at the end of the day, Fred and McTominay is the ones doing the job. Now, obviously, these guys will agree because they're watching the same games as I am.
I know out of the two guys, I know one probably agrees with you and one probably doesn't.
Let's
So
hear.
let's hear that. Let's start with you, Dom. Do you agree with Lorenz's statements? And who do you think your midfield should consist of?
And what formation?
Okay.
And what formation?
That's a lot of questions. Okay. Firstly, I do tend to agree with Lawrence. That once all is at the wheel, we don't know what to expect, and that's the sad truth. Hitting PSG's 2-0, 2 whatever's 5-0, whatever, and then that nonsense team is we're gonna draw against them or lose. That's the boring thing with Ollie. It's boring. Whenever, Burnley at home lose a 2-1 shocker, and they're doing his own shit there, and I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, our best 11, Pogba.
Give me your midfield. Give me your midfield.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the midfield is a big issue. How Ollie, sorry, balances that whole dynamic is very key because, as Lawrence mentioned, we've got Fred and McTominay staking their claim in there, but then we've got Pogba with the biggest ego and the inflated wages. So Ollie needs to balance that out. With Van de Beek as well signing, he needs to get in there as well. Bruno is a standard, so that's one spot gone. So these other boys, they need to fight. Fred looks like he's in. So I think Pogba needs to relax a little, really show why he needs to be a starting 11 player. Because look, he's not scoring goals. He's doing the same thing as Fred is doing, but a bit worse. Fred is like just doing it a bit better. So he can't do Bruno's job. So what is he gonna do? Van de Beek needs to play with Fred. I think McTominay, he can come in now and again as well. Let's try Bruno, Van Beek, and Fred as a 3, and then obviously up front, Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. That's more exciting.
Okay, before we jump into Bino's remarks, I've always thought this is controversial. I think you guys should play a 4-4-2 with Pogba as a left midfielder. Play the position he played at Juve, the position where he feels most comfortable. And in that way, you guys can play Van de Beek and play Bruno at the same time. But that's just an opinion. It's probably a bad one because I'm not a United fan. But that's how I would sort it out. A classic 4-4-2 formation. Bino, am I talking shit? I know you love Ole. I know you love defending your guys. Your tribe always comes first. Are these guys talking shit or are you agreeing with them in some sense?
I agree with a couple of points. I actually agree with your Pogba point. It's a great observation. I remember this one game because there's so little good Pogba games in the last 4 years. But I remember this one specific one where he started on the left against Everton about 2 or 3 seasons ago. And it was one of the best games I've ever seen him play. And he did play that position at Juve, as you said as well. So there might be something in that. I would prefer a 5 at the back because unfortunately I don't trust our club captain. And I think having 2 other center backs beside him might offer him a little bit more of a cushion, just to maybe absorb his mistakes a bit. You know how it is. We've got some nice width with Wan-Bissaka and either Shaw or Williams on the other side. I think they can play that wing back role very well. I prefer the 5. I think it gives us a little bit more protection. In terms of the gents' points, I agree definitely in terms of consistency. Ollie's consistency is lacking. And he also doesn't seem like he knows his best 11. That's definitely true. And my most concerning part about that is at the back. Like Lorenz said, like that Liverpool league winning team, we all knew who was playing. They literally only needed about 13, 14 players in that squad to take that title, plus no injuries, etc., etc. And now my biggest concern is at the back. any league winning or any challenging team has a solid either 2 or 3 at the back. We all know who those guys are, and we soft in the middle. We look very soft in the middle, and it's a concern. In terms of this past game, I'm going to give some credit to Ollie. I think he came with a nice game plan, and the gents actually executed. We stifled Leipzig in the first half because they got a high pace. So we stifled their pace, and then we got our killer on in the second half, who cut these boys' little necks like the sheep that they are. So shout out to Ollie. It was a nice game plan, and it paid off. And I actually think we're going to win the first 4 games of this Champions League season. Automatic qualification in 4 games.
Nino, I need to add just to everything that they're saying now is that one thing that is positive for United at the moment is the fact that nobody is dominating the Premier League of the big teams so far. And obviously that goes down to injuries. City's got their defensive woes. Liverpool's got their defensive woes. Arsenal is also still under Arteta, who is convincing here and there.
Arsenal is
like
still
Ollie.
Arsenal.
Yeah, they're much like Ollie. But if you think about this now, this is the 10,000 hours of Football Manager coming in now, right? Maguire and Lindelof are, let me just, before you hear what I say, they are quality players in their own respect. And what that means is they need a player next to them that complements them, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Together, they dog shit because they both just do stupid things. And like, you always need like, okay, Van Dijk, if Van Dijk is playing next to Gomez or Matip, they look world class. But they had Gomez and Matip play together, look like 2 fucking morons. So
what to go that for?
Okay, but it's not VVD and you know what I mean. I'm obviously, as a United fan, I'm how can I say, I'm exaggerating. So in United respect, you've missed out Alex Telles, which was the club captain of Porto. He should be our left back. Wan-Bissaka, I don't know. I played football and I just think that he doesn't have that intelligence, but he's a good one-on-one defender. He's like a Gary Neville. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing because that allows somebody like Mason Greenwood to not, have to track back that much.
Yeah.
But one thing that I noticed in the Leipzig game is that we were more effective without wingers. And Michael Owen, I think, pointed it out, is that if we have 2 up top that runs between the lines, they become more effective because they're playing closer to goal and they can just wreak havoc in between the lines instead of coming from wide. And then there's just that block of a defense that just cuts them off and they look clueless. And if we start playing that, I don't know if you guys remember the master of Zidane, the prime Real Madrid team, where he played that diamond with Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, Isco, prime Isco at the tip with Bale and Ronaldo. So I'm not saying we have that personnel, but let's say we play Rashford, Martial, or Greenwood on the left with the left footer as the Bale role. You have your Van de Beek or Bruno in the diamond with Fred and McTominay or Matic. In my opinion, we should sell Pogba. There's only so much we can say. The system. A fucking quality player can play in any system. This is bullshit. Like, it's the same going on at Arsenal, where they say, Ozil is such quality. It's fucking bullshit. He doesn't fit into the system. Go to a different club. We recognize you are a unique, world-class talent, but you're just not for us. You know what I mean? Go be world-class at Juventus and make us cry, go score rockets there, but it's just not working at United. You know what I mean? So it's if you find that system where, okay, yes, we're gonna leave a couple of quality players out, but this is what's best for United. That's what Ollie needs to come to terms with and say, okay, if we have to play Tuanzebe next to Lindelof, then so be it. You get what I'm saying? And that's where the Football Manager things comes in. You're like, okay, this guy's a 4-star, but my 3.5-star has more potential and he suits my my current centre back partner better. It's easier said than done, but you understand what I'm trying to get across, right?
Yeah, but now check, Lorenz. As soon as I hear names like Twanzeb, that's when I know we've spoken too much about Manchester United. So let's actually put a close to that topic. And I'm gonna put you guys under the spotlight. We've actually run out of time. Time flies when you're having a good time. Quick fire questions. We haven't done this, and we're 2 weeks into 2 game weeks into the UEFA Champions League. Let's do some quick predictions. UEFA Champions League predictions. Top goal scorer and the winner. 2 simple ones. So I'm going to ask Hudson to start while the other guys gather their thoughts.
Okay. Top goal scorer. Jesus, bro. You asked me to pick from the top European teams. All of them. Every team has a top goal scorer in it. You know what?
Fire. You got me last episode.
You know what? Okay, how about this? Rashford has 2 crap fixtures coming where he can bag some goals. Add to his hat trick a brace, maybe another hat trick against this weaker team. Maybe Rashford might build something. You know, all you need is really like 15 goals to be top goal scorer in UEFA. So, you know, he's the closest thing. So don't hold me to that. You know, this is quick fire. But anyway, when it comes to the winner, my head wants to say Bayern, because out of all the teams that are looking terrible, they're the only ones that still look like they've got the eye of the tiger. Every other team is falling apart. Juventus is falling apart. Inter is falling apart. Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, City. They're the ones that look like they've got the eye of the tiger, but that wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't have been fun at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back my boys. Come on, number 7, 11. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's be 7 up. Liverpool, 7th UEFA. We coming for you, Real Madrid. We coming for your ass. That's my prediction.
Okay, we're gonna write it down to come back to this in the near future. Pino, what you got?
I'm backing my boys as well, actually. This guy just poked the bear with all this Liverpool bullshit he's spreading. I'm feeling good about my boys. They just beat last year's finalist, and it was a good performance. I know I'm getting carried away, but fuck it. Man U all the way. Rashi with the golden boot. Let's go.
Okay, Dom.
Okay, I'm a bit more realistic. Okay, I'm not getting carried away with this. Okay, let's get serious here. Right, let's get serious. Let's quick fire, but let's get serious. I love Man U, ne? But Oli, no. Okay, let's get serious. I'm going Lewandowski because I'm just expecting Bayern to come up with a 7-0 out the motherfucking blue one day and him to get 4. And then another 7-1, and then he gets another 4. So I'm expecting one of those nonsense things from him. And then the winner, I'm not expecting them to win it again, though. Regardless if he's the top goal scorer, it's not a movie. You don't just win back-to-back Champions League, whether you Bayern Munich or not. So I'm going surprise attack. I've been looking Madrid or eating shit, but Zidane always comes up with a trick. They were losing 2-0 yesterday. Few minutes left. Bah, bah. That's how you get it done. I'm going Madrid to bring it back.
Okay. I like that, Chris. I like that. Lorenz, what you got? What you got before we close?
I'm gonna actually agree with him. I think Madrid to scruff it like 1-0 to the trophy, 1-0 every game to the trophy, because they can explode at any time. So that's my pick. And top scorer, I think Erling Haaland is gonna solidify his status as the certified heir of Messi and Ronaldo. I mean, I think he's got 15 goals or 12 or 15 goals in 10 games. It's fucking ridiculous. So I think he's he knows Dortmund's not going to win it. So this is an individual, personal thing for him to show. I'm fucking here. You know what I mean? And I think that's definitely going to happen.
Okay, my turn. You beat me. I thought I was going to have a unique take here. My Golden Boot winner was going to go to Haaland. I think he's my favorite wonder kid out there right now. And when it comes to the winner, it's tough. I actually want to choose something different. I feel like this year we'll have something in store for us. So
Like
I actually, no, not even PSG. I want to say Sevilla for some reason.
Yeah.
You know, they've been such a good team when it comes to the Europa.
Don't be crazy, Nino.
Different. No, here's the thing,
man.
No,
Fuck, man.
Here's the
Rather
thing.
say fucking.
Here's the thing.
Fuck.
Here's the thing. I can say Real Madrid. I want to say Real Madrid, but my take on Sevilla is me saying a random team is probably gonna gun for the trophy this season.
Rather say Atletico Madrid. Get more fucking Sevilla.
Football heritage.
We will see.
Football heritage, Nino.
I could easily go for any other club, but I think this season a club from out of nowhere is going to surprise us. They might.
So what convinced you, bro? Is it their wonderful 1-0 win against Rennes?
What about Spurs?
What convinced me? What actually convinced me is their track record in Europa.
What about Spurs?
Europa. Wow.
I know. Honestly, do people care about Europa?
No.
They have it. Arsenal's not going to win it.
What about Man City, rather? Rather fucking Man City taking the Champions than your silly Sevilla. Let's get serious, Nino. This is recorded.
Sevilla could beat Man City in the semis. Sevilla has what it takes to beat Man City. Sevilla has beaten all our clubs in Europa.
Okay, listen here. Sevilla has what it takes to beat any team. They can beat Real Madrid, any team, but get United in the quarterfinals. Get United in the quarterfinals. United will smash them. Get United in the finals. Sevilla will beat them.
United have UEFA pedigree. Real Madrid, Liverpool have UEFA pedigree. They could come with their Europa pedigree. We'll hit them with the big boy pedigree. Not the primary school, not the grade 6, grade 7. We're talking about the big boy pedigree, and they lack the big boy pedigree.
Who won the Europa final? Who won the Europa final in the 16-17 season? And who did they play?
Was it United?
Sevilla beat Liverpool.
Oh yeah, and Liverpool scored the first goal, man. It was Jurgen Klopp's first final.
Yeah.
He lost.
Gents,
wasn't it like his fifth final or something like that?
Listen, before we end on, we'll press the pause on this, and it seems like we'll have to have a part 2 with Lorenz in studio again, because I feel like he's pressed some buttons and he's pressed them at the end. So guys, thank you for watching this episode of the Diski Den. It's been episode 5. I've been your host, Nino. We've had Lorenz in studio for the first time. We have Hudson, we have Pino, we have Dom. Do follow us on our socials. Don't forget to subscribe if you love the content. Press the notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop new content. Camp on our timelines. You never know what we might drop. We might drop something that might interest you. Once again, thank you. It's been the Diski Den, episode 5. Stay tuned for episode 6 coming out on Monday. Cheers, guys. Thank you for watching.
This is Sevilla. This is Sevilla. Are you watching Sevilla? This is Sevilla.